Hello, this is Dogcesy, and today I'll be talking about the upcoming banner, which is it upcoming? Yeah, I guess it's tomorrow. We're talking about the Gavios events banner. So yeah, pretty sure there's also there's another banner of like the Calcids and Shining one, which shall probably go record after this. But first I'll talk about the Gavios event banner, which is featuring Eunectes, Flint, Meteorite, Aciddrop, and Tomimi, which, to be fair, all but Meteorite actually haven't used much. Especially Eunectes since I don't have her. So yeah, I'll just be talking about like my experience with her as a friend support as well as my friend's experience with Eunectes. Flint I already have some experience, especially in one of the IS. I did get Flint for like as one of the few operators. So it's that one. So I do have some experience with him, but it's also not much. My one is kind of sitting at E0. So yeah, Meteorite. I also mentioned it in one of my the one for the Mostimas banner already, I guess. And Aciddrop, I haven't really used that much since I decided to build up shorts. So probably until I'm like feel I've experienced shorts enough, then I'll probably go build him up. But from what my friends have said, my friend who built Province for waifu reasons have said that Acid Drop does feel stronger than Provenance, who is the 5-star version. So that's something. And Tomimi is just very weird to play with, to be honest, but in the right situations can actually be very strong. But yeah, so let's go back and talk about Eunectes, who is a duelist defender, a unique archetype that currently only she shares in Addis EN. I'm pretty sure there is like the new one in CN, the one Silvesh event. I'm pretty sure it will be released then. A 5-star duelist the Vanguard defender. But yeah, yeah. Very strong team. Her trait is that she can only gain SP when she's blocking, which why to be honest? Honestly, why? I mean it's at least still somewhat fine because at least the SP cost isn't too high for most skills. But yeah, I mean at least it's not like Calcid. She doesn't lose SP whenever she stops blocking. So I actually not too sure about that. Does she lose SP when she stops blocking? Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know much. I've have never really used Eunectes to be honest, so I really wouldn't know much. That's why I can tell she is also very hard to use for my friends. My friend who does own her, she is actually very hard to use and requires a lot of setup. So I'm probably not gonna be the best person to explain how good Eunectes is. Yeah, pretty sure if you want to really check out some of the other, I guess other content creators, they probably have a better idea how Eunectes is used. I don't. That's my friend to be honest. He already mentioned that she is strong in CC, but that's about the extent that he knows. He tried using her in general content. It just didn't work out the way he wanted it to be honest. It's very, she's very awkward to use, yes. Because of the trait that she only gain SP one, or she only gain SP when blocking, as well as the fact she only has one block. Yeah, a very hard operator, but can be very strong. Let's talk about the challenges. When SP is higher than 50%, she deals extra damage, and when HP is below 50%, she gains 20% damage resistance, or also known as shelter effect. Yeah, I'm pretty sure only her and Tsukinogi can give shelter effect. So that's something I guess. But yeah. I mean her HP is actually decent, I guess. It's decent compared to other defenders. But yeah, the attack is probably the only defining thing that she does have over other defenders. Oh yeah. And then what else? Well yeah. Second teller, when blocking enemies, increase her SP recovery. Which is nice I guess. Since she can only recover SP when she's blocking in the first place. And I'm pretty sure she doesn't have that. Yeah, she doesn't have that talent at lower promotions. And yeah, to be honest, the port 5 boost isn't that too so useful for the most part, but will still be nice to have, so I guess. I guess I'll talk about skill 1, which is actually a passive skill. So same as like Hoshiguma's, what is it, second skill, yeah. So yeah, it's just constant, you just be constant active, where she just gain attack and defense buff, which I guess is a nice skill for you to use first when you're just trying her out to get used to the lower block count as well, and then having a feel of what she can survive, like the takes she can survive, because the 80% defense buff really isn't that much compared to like the defense buff that other defenders get. So yeah, it is a nice introductory skill, but in general won't be using this skill much, like in like, actual content. So yeah, we'll move on to skill 2, where she increases her attack interval by 0.4 seconds. So it's from 1.6 to 2 seconds, which I guess is okay. As well as increasing attack to 130%. And blocked enemies are continuously stunned for the duration of the skill, which is 17 seconds at at rank 7 and 18 seconds at M3. So it's actually quite useful to actually M3 her just for the extra 1 second. Yeah, but this one is this attack, this skill is more like the boss killing skill from what I've heard. Because a lot of bosses, they are a lot, which is not too sure. But yeah, if the boss can be stunned, you can continuously just have her to, you know, he's actually very strong from in that sense, I guess. A very good duelist, as her architect would say for skill 2. And from what I heard, she's actually even more fun in IS, because there are artifacts that increase the block count of your operators. Because the block is like limited by her block, but even if you do increase her block count, she can't attack more than one enemy in the first place. So makes you so to block more enemies, but if you want to like have a defender that can block, in most cases Blitz will be better, to be honest, because he does have better uptime and stuff, but yeah, I guess it's a nice thing to play with, as my friend. But can do big damage while stunning multiple enemies with the correct artifacts. I guess that is something, but yeah, the skill that my friend tend to use more often, since doesn't like the how much the skill tree costs apparently, which I guess is fair. So I guess I'll talk about skill tree, where she has greatly increased attack and defense, as well as increasing her block count from 1 to 3, which is like the usual block count that defenders have, as well as having some HP regen, 3%. From what I heard, this is the bread and butter skill, from what I've heard, as the skill that most people tend to use. I can see why. It's probably like the most, how do I say, most familiar skill. It's basically just stat buffs and then the block count increasing to that of the what you know of defenders to have, as well as having some passive regen. So it's basically just making her an extreme beat stick, which isn't bad. Just that the downtime is 49 is quite high. So my friend doesn't seem to like it, especially since every single SP counts for her, since she can only recover them when blocking. But as far as I can tell, others doesn't find the same issue that my friend has. I don't know. I don't have her. Like I said, I don't have her. I only play her like once, like for friend support, and even then that was with skill 1, because I'm pretty sure she was an E2 one, but it was brought down because I didn't have any E2, so it was automatically shift to skill 1. Yeah, that's something I guess. Just drinking water. Yeah, that's something I guess, but I really don't have much experience, so I can't really say much. Like I said, my friends prefer skill 2 over skill 3, but for most other people, they like skill 3. I can't really say much, but as well as from what I've heard, she is a very strong operator if used right. But it takes a lot of effort to properly set her up for you to utilize her max potential to like get the most out of her. I guess, but if you want, I may want to pull for her for multiple reasons. To be honest, I'm not sure whether I can save up enough, cause I'm quite broke from Chowder. I was trying to get pots on Chowder. Yeah, I didn't get as much as I wanted to for like the pots on Chowder, but yeah, I will try to see if I can save up enough for her. At least pull for like the 10 times. So yeah, but yeah, very strong operator. Just needs a lot of setup. I guess I'll move on to Flint. How was that lag? Okay, right. Flint is a brawler archetype, same as like Indra, Bee Hunter, Jackie, and the like. So yeah, they are characterized by their very high attack speed, and actually I would say decent stats. I wouldn't say they're very good, as well as the low cost. So just that the fact that their attacks like attack per second or damage per second, their DPS is actually considerable to other guards. Just that because they get their damage per second based on due to their attack speed, they actually like hampered more than other operators by like defense of the enemies. So if you have any way to debuff the enemy, like give Chowder skills, or maybe even for some reason you want to Meteorite skill 2, Ifrit skill 2, Shorts, they will go a very long way for brawler archetypes, including Flint. So yeah, I guess I'll move on to her, right? Is it a her or he? Actually, I don't know actually. Is it a her or he? She. It's a her. Why did I never knew that? Oh, I don't know. Right? She just looks very male-like, I guess. Let's say she. Okay, never mind. But yeah, she's a hummingbird. You know the small little birds. She's a hummingbird. Yet she's a better junkie. Do not question it. Hey, I guess I should mention, I never completed the Gyro event. I was too preoccupied with the IS. I actually never completed the event stages. So yeah, look forward to that, I guess. Pretty sure they got to like stage 4 or 5. But I don't even know how I did it. I got Tomimi to max pot, but I did not actually like play through the event at all because I was preoccupied with IS. It was very enjoyable. Yeah, okay. Igva, I guess. So yeah, the talent increase damage dealt to enemies she's not blocking, which is quite hard to be honest, since she only does have an extra 1 tower range. But at least both skills does help out with the talent. So yeah, that's that. So into north. So yeah, I'm just straight up move on to the not talent. I say help out by her talents. I mean help out by her skills. Yeah, I'll straight up move on to the skill one. The skill two. Shall move on to the skill one, where it's you never mentioned about Eunectes, I guess, the skill recovery. Both of them, their sword passive is per second, but I'm pretty sure you guys can read. If you guys can't read, I'm sorry. But yeah, okay, skill 1 is offensive recovery, so he recovers SP whenever she attacks. The next attack will do increased damage, as well as having a small push force and slowing them for 1 second. Which isn't much, but like I said, it does help out with our talent. It's kind of like a get off me so that I can use my talent. Yeah, sense of the way. Especially with how fast her attack speed is, so she doesn't actually need 4 seconds. It's more like 2 plus seconds for each trigger. And yeah, and then the fact that the push away force is only small. It's not like you're unless you have like maybe I don't know, like engineer skill 3 active, you usually won't push them off like Tau, off her attack rate so that she can still continue attack. So it's actually a very nice skill to have. It also does help to facilitate the talent. So yeah. But from what I've heard, So this is more like for consistent damage. But from what I heard, if you really want like a bread and butter, where she can just burst down foes, it's the second skill. Where she reduces her block count to 0, so you don't need to care about anything while her blocking. Her talent will be constantly active for the next 20 seconds. She increases her attack by 40% and by 55 at M3, increasing her attack speed by 40 and 55 at M3. And then, yep, slowing the target down, slowing each attack that she does will slow them down by 0.3 seconds, which is actually better for even facilitated even more by the attack speed increase. So yeah, basically she just keeps the slow just keeps them within her top range, and then she just go hams on them. Okay, you probably see that there's a lot of videos where people like showcase the skill. She just goes hams on them. They just burst down like slow to middle armor enemies. I don't really think she can do much against high enemies unless you debuff the defense properly first. Like I said, with other skills or talents and stuff like that. So yeah, actually from what I can see, it is a very strong skill, just that you will need some proper setup in order to like fully maximize utilize the skills. But by no means a bad skill. Actually, Flint is by no means a bad operator. It's just same as Eunectes. To get to use her to get the most use out of her, you need the proper setup. So yeah, anything else I want to add on to? To be honest, really isn't that much since I guess I should talk about like the IS experience I have with her, I guess. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I used like the skill one for like the early game, like after when I get her, because I believe I got her at like the second layer. Is it level or what is it called? I don't know like the proper term. Things like the second layer I got her there. I was using the skill one for more of like additional DPS. So the fact that since the push force would actually like refresh the enemy, so if it's gonna attack like stuff like that. Like the same thing as how people will usually do that for Frost Novas, like the delete button. If you can like time the push force, you can actually stagger out of the animation so that the Q switch, like Frost Nova doesn't use a skill switch. That's actually something that people do. I can't seem to figure out the timing though, so probably because I'm using Gladia, but that's something for you to know, for you to like consider. But yeah, actually I did that for like against like how does I remember I did that against like some of the enemies, which actually did help out my defenders to survive. Especially since back then I really haven't built up a lot of my operators, to be honest. I wasn't really invested back then, like I said. Like around when IS came out was around when I stopped playing Genshin, because I was fed up with it. I played for like months, still couldn't get a single 5-star. So yeah, I'm pretty sure back then was before the PT system was added for Genshin. Pretty sure there's a PT system right now. But yeah, so yeah, I really didn't really use her for like. I'm pretty sure it was like pretty sure I put her to like the side of the defender to help out with DPS instead of like actually using her to block. So I don't really think I fully experienced like how she's supposed to be played, to be honest. But I still have fun playing with her, to be honest. Especially the skill 2. I remember using her against the boss. I lost that game, alright, because she was only at E1 and did not have like the proper support. But it was still fun. Just seeing her like slow the boss down to the snail crawl, and like the damage, it was like slowly chip down though. Yeah, it's not much because she was E1 only there. And I was playing around. I lost my run on that stage, but it was still fun, alright. Yeah, IS was really fun. So I'm really looking forward to IS2. When it comes out, it should be around June-ish. Or was it April? Can't remember the exact time. But yeah, a very fun operator to play with. Just not really a high priority to build because it is hard to use her. She is on the harder side to use. Yeah. Move on to Meteorite. which I have talked about, like I said, I have talked about in like the Mostima and Chen banner, but I guess I just redo, yeah, since I'm pretty sure people did not watch it, and nor will people watch it. So yeah, so she's a AoE sniper, not caster, AoE sniper, also known as the Grenadier or Splash. You directly translate it from Chinese because I'm pretty sure she's called Grenadier. Yeah, yeah, just do splash physical damage. A talent whenever she's attacking, either like her normal attack or from her skills. She will have a 30% chance to increase the damage that the attack does by 60%, which is good, since that is RNG. So don't like rely on it for like the additional damage. If it happens, it happens. Alright. Yeah. So skill one, which is her bread and butter skill. Like even for me, I found I use her skill 1 more than her skill 2. And from last time, I have tried to use her skill 2 already. It's just very clunky to use the skill 2. I guess I'll talk about the skill 2 first. So, when you activate the skill, she immediately fires a flame bomb, fire bomb, what I call it. She immediately fires an attack that deals 240% damage to all enemies within the fireball, as well as inflicting negative 210 defense for the next 10 seconds, which is about approximately an additional 2 attack from Meteorite. It is actually a very strong skill. Like I said, it's very clunky. The 23-second cooldown for 10 seconds of defense debuff just feels very clunky compared to the skill 1's consistent damage. It's not bad, but I found if I really want like defense debuff, other operators like Chowder, even Meteor, the 4-star, I should probably get her out. Even Meteor, load this, there you go. Even Meteor, or Lucy, yeah, Meteor. Even Meteor, if you really want the defense debuff, Meteor's skill 1 would actually be very good. Especially since that is percentage based. Since most of the time when you want to debuff enemies, it's usually like high defense enemies that I don't know, like the armored defenders, or even like bosses. With anything, her percentage debuff from Meteor would actually usually do more. If you want consistent uptime or the damage debuff, Chowder, Schwartz, or even Ifrit, their skills can have a better uptime than the skill 2. So I mean, the skill 2 is by no means bad. Just that other operators that like defense debuff will generally do a better job of defense debuffing. So yeah, it just feels very clunky to use. It's not a bad skill, just very clunky to use. And in most cases, skill 1 will be better. So yeah. Actually, she got a skin? Since when? She looks so nice though. Okay, yeah. So I'll talk about Meteorite skill 1 right now, where it's same as Flint skill 1. It's offensive recon, so when she attacks strength, but unlike Flint where Flint, her attack speed is actually a lot slower than Flint's. But yeah. So yeah, the next attack has increased splash area as well as dealing extra damage, which is actually, like I can tell, just good consistent damage. So how high Meteorite's attack is, it's just good consistent damage. That's all you really need to know. She's just very good consistent damage. W is more for like burst. So it's both her skill 1 is like skill 1 just launch a bomb and just burst like that. Skill 2 where she actually just build up mines across the field or like on the map itself for you to like burst out enemies when they just after they spawn in. And then skill 3 is, I don't need to say for W. Actually, let me just bring a W, I guess, myself, so I can explain better. Ooh, okay, probably shouldn't have. Yeah, that's fine. W. And skill 1, just immediately fire a grenade, doing a burst of physical damage. Skill 2, she's placing a landmine with it on like the map. So it's basically just building up like the charges across the map for you to burst out enemies. I mean, it can be somewhat sustained fire because the SP cost is actually considered a lot lower compared to the other skills. Actually, skill 1 has quite low cooldown as well, but you get the idea. And then skill 3, you just, boom. It's really the burst skill for W. But yeah, the W is more for like burst. Meteorite is more for like consistent damage. So yeah, that's like the difference I feel playing with both Meteorite and W. This I actually do own both. I've played on both of them quite often, quite a lot. Like over the since the last time I talked about Meteorite. So yeah, she's by no means bad actually. She is very good. No, by the way, she is very good. Meteorite is actually very good. Just that she is more for consistent damage, consistent crowd control, whereas W is more for like burst. Or if you want, you can also use her for the stunning. She does stun. So she does help out with consistent stun for the skill too. But yeah, they serve two different roles, and both of them are actually very strong. So yeah, right? I'm pretty sure like the skill I said last time I mentioned, the meteor skin is actually the first skin that my friend bought. Because before then he was mainly focusing on buying the the level up enhancement packs with his OP. So yeah. Yeah. I guess I'll move on to Aciddrop. It is a close sniper, the same archetype as or other operators like Shorts and Provenance. But as far as I can tell, my friend who has E2 both, Provenance and Aciddrop, has mentioned that Aciddrop just feels stronger than Provenance. Like I mentioned in the other video where I talk about the operator permit thing, voucher permit, whatever you want to call it, but yeah. So yeah, I'll just move on to the talent, where every attack you do damage to at least 25% of his attack, which is a he, right? It's a she. That it's a she. I would have always think Aciddrop was a he. Seriously, Arknights. Why are you like this? And I think I just got a notification. Is it? Yeah, okay. I'll check it out later. I watched a notification. Yeah. Okay, seriously, Arknights. Why do I keep thinking a lot of operators that is a he? Like it happened for Shaw, you know. I thought Shaw was a he for the longest time. Even Ansel. I thought Ansel was a girl for the longest time. What the hell? Oh, why? Okay. Yeah, screw it. Yeah, the talent will actually at least do like a fixed amount. As if you guys don't know, in Arknights, where there is like a minimum amount of damage like all your operators and enemies will do. So for example, if you have 100 attack and the enemy have 100 defense, based on the calculation, since like defense is subtractive, like the physical side is subtractive. So 100 attack minus 100 defense, you should be doing 0 damage, right? But the Arknight's damage calculation will at least apply a minimum of 5% of the attack. So if you have 100 attack attacking a 100 defense enemy, you will do a minimum of 5, you will do like 5 attack per hit instead of 0. Just that in most cases, you know, you will still feel like 0, but you're at least still doing like some amount of damage. So our talent will ensure that she will do at least 25% of her attack, and 20% at E1, which is this 25% is further increased to 40% if the enemy is in the 2 tiles directly in front of her, which I guess is nice. It does help out against like higher attack enemy, not higher defense enemy, not high defense enemy, which is what most things that usually snipers struggle with, except for snipers of this archetype from what I found. I said Aciddrop has this, and then Shorts have a defense debuffing one. So then Providence also have, pretty sure it's a similar thing if I'm not wrong. Let me just go try to bring up Providence, I guess. Providence, here she go. Yeah. opponent have the crit chance. So yeah, that's what I found out. Like the operators of this archetype has like a way to deal with high defense enemies, unlike what other sniper operators cannot deal with. So that is something nice, I guess. But yeah, and then for I guess I just directly move on to the skills. For skill one, you just increase her attack speed. It may not seem like much, but this is actually a very strong skill against bosses at M3. Because it's actually increasing our attack speed by like a lot. I don't want to swear. I almost swore. I don't quite think I want to swear yet. But yeah, she does dash a lot. She actually has very fast attack speed in the skill at M3. Then add on to the fact that she actually does have like the minimum damage. Just by herself, she can actually do considerable amount of damage against Petra. I'm pretty sure there is a video up. I don't know whether I've seen a video or not, but yeah, actually don't remember. Yeah, but yeah, I see my friend use like Aciddrop against Petra. So yeah, actually just see him like see her he start to burst down Petra. I mean, she couldn't like one cycle Petra, the one cycle phase one Petra or even phase two, but you know it's the amount of damage that she can do is actually surprisingly against Petra, who is known to be very bulky, and I actually have yet to fought, to be honest. I really should actually start clearing out the main story, but I just never really had the time to. But yeah, I've actually seen her. She actually kind of exactly like one skill cycle him, but the amount of damage she can do compared to like other operators is considerably high. So yeah, skill one has been known. My friend has shown that he is actually quite strong boss kill. So yeah, but generally you be using Aciddrop to boss kill to beat our allies. If you really want to boss kill Schwartz, so a better choice either from the same archetype or the other operators who would actually generally still do more damage. So yeah, but by no means a bad skill as well. Just why? Just that better options, I guess. And then skill 2, which is the skill that most people tend to use, gravitate towards. Having just increase attack by 32% at rank 7 and 40% at M3. And each attack is due to hits. So it's basically like cruise. Like cruise skill, where she just attacks twice. So yeah, that's the same thing for her. And for the next 25 seconds, each time she attacks for at every 1.6 seconds, the attack will do twice. It's actually quite nice. Actually hit very strong. Like I said. Like I said, the really not much to say. It's just good damage, good uptime, I guess. I mean, not really. This is good uptime, I guess. Around 50-ish, like 50%-ish. It's actually lower, around 45. But that's actually good enough uptime for most skills, actually. Since Arknights, usually the enemies spawn in waves, so by the time the next wave comes, you should generally have the skill up already. So yeah, by no means a bad skill. If anything, it's actually her bread and butter skill. Just that there really isn't much to talk about it, to be honest. It's just good, consistent damage. That's about it, to be honest. I guess the fact that the attacks do twice, so it can help out with a talent twice if you're attacking against high defense enemies. But if that's the case, usually you want to use skill one. I guess if you haven't mastered 3, the skill one, since actually there is a very big difference. The extra 20% attack speed can make a lot, from what I've heard from my friend. I don't really know since I haven't built up my Aciddrop. My Aciddrop is easier right now. Since I'm still currently trying to play around with Schwartz right now. Trying to like find out like the situations where skill 1 is better than skill 2 and then skill 2 is better than skill 1 for Schwartz right now. So yeah, I'm trying to figure that one out before I go and build up the materials to into my Schwartz. And then play with skill 3 then. But yeah, I guess actually a very strong 4-star. I'm pretty sure maybe I don't know. I can't really say much. I haven't built her, and even my friend who did build her generally doesn't really show too often. Because like I said, she isn't really that strong. At least just that wise, since she is a 4 star. She's very frail, and damage is, I mean, is high, not even as high as like other operators like Meteorite and stuff like that. So yeah, means by no means a bad operator, just overshadowed by most other operators because she is a 4 star. She doesn't give like, and she doesn't have any like niches like, I don't know, like Click has with stun, or like Gumi has with healing, like being a healing defender, stuff like that. She just doesn't really have a strong niche for herself, I guess. But is a strong operator. So yeah, I guess I'll move on to Tomimi. I'm just so disappointed. I like her art a lot. I really like her art. It's kind of disappointed of how weird she feels. Uh, how weird she be because of her talent. She's just a single target caster for the most part. But when her talent, like when you trigger a talent, she turns into like a melee caster, like a melee whacker. The attacks actually even deal physical damage afterwards when you ever have the skill active, and she can only attack ground enemies. Ugh. Excuse me, that was a bug, I guess, some kind. Oh, sorry about that. Excuse me. Yeah. Okay, why did even bug? No, I drank water and came at that. I'm not gonna frustrate. Yeah. She just feels very weird to play, to be honest. So yeah, she just feels very weird. She has a normal single target caster. I mean, you can kind of use her. I mean, I have, at least for some time, actually just use her as like a bulkier steward, to be honest. Because she does actually have very good defenses for a caster. I mean, not in general, but for a caster, she actually has very good like survivability. But yes, with the skill active, she just feels weird. I mean, don't mistake her, she is actually very strong. Remember the same thing I talked about for Aciddrop? The same friend who built up Tomimi can actually just show with like some buffs. I'm pretty sure he only gave Tomimi a Warframe buff, just like the smallest amount of buff, and with skill 1 active, she can actually do very high damage against Picture already. Which is, I know it sounds weird, but the attack speed or the attack buff that the talent gives her whenever she has the skill active, on top of her already decent attack, she can actually do damage with the skill active. Just it feels very weird because of how limited the range is. Since she actually like I said, she decreases her range. So just how limiting this feels. It's it's like hard to play with. You need to like properly set up before you can actually do anything with her skills. But others for the most part, like I said, if you're gonna be like stupid like me and not try to like fully utilize Tomimi, you can use her like as like a bulkier steward. Like you can. I guess it's viable. Like he is actually very strong. But that her talent makes her feel awkward to play with. So I mean yeah, but yeah, actually the skills is actually very strong. Like I said, skill 1 actually. You can actually see her. Actually, I'm pretty sure there is a video out there. I'm not sure if I can find. Don't think I want to bother finding it right now. Because I actually don't really have much time. So right now, I don't really have much time since it's CNY right now. So yeah, and it's like almost to be exam period for me. My exams is end of the month. So I am actually right now like studying for my exams. So I don't really have much time. So I don't think I'll try to look for the video. But pretty sure there is a video out there where people brought a buff army to buff up Tomimi and then after use her to solo Patriot. Use her as the sole DPS against Patriot. There is that I guess for with skill 1. So, if you want to, there is that. Yeah, so skill 1, like I said, is more for boss killing. And then actually even for general use, if you don't like, if you haven't E2 her, skill 1 will still be the more like the general skill use. Because of skill 2, you can see that oh such good, can like stun, boost attack or even splash, and you see all those effects, right? People don't tend to just forget about the 70% chance. Flint has a 70% chance. I mean, you still gain the attack buff, but attacks only have a 70% chance to trigger the stun, the damage boost, yeah, extra damage or splash damage. Because of that, it's not really good. It's very consistent. It's like dice roll upon dice roll. You're rolling the dice to trigger, you don't even have any of the effects to trigger, and then another dice roll for the effect that you want to trigger. So it just feels very weird, clunky to play. And you can only get the most out of skill 2 only when you M3 her, but you're actually having a 100% chance to activate. So each attack will always activate either the stun, the damage boost, or the splash damage. So unless you M3 her skill 2, in most cases, generally skill 1 will actually still be better at rank 7. So just, yeah, I guess. But Tomimi is actually by no means bad, just that her use cases is very, very niche. I mean, if you're trying to cycle like against the recent CC5, my friend did use Tomimi in that one because the hammer boss that spawned first has higher physical damage, have higher physical defense than us damage. So if you want, you can kind of do that, like use Tomimi for the boss, for the hammer boss, the us damage help out, and then afterwards when against the the bow boss, use Tomimi skill to burst the boss down. My friend did do that. I mean, you can do that, but the read deployment time kind of doesn't allow it. But my friend did play around with that, I guess. I think he played with like risk 8. He just did that for fun. Yeah, to be honest, have fun, I guess. I mean, by no means a bad operator, just that her use cases are very, very niche, I guess, to be honest. I mean, I guess certain maps, I guess, could be useful. Since I don't really recall what the map is, but I'm pretty sure there are maps where the mobs have high defense, but the boss does not. I think it was like the Crown Slayer one. But I'm pretty sure like there was like the armor guys, the armor shield guys spawning for like in the normal mobs, and then Crown Slayer has actually relatively low defense. I I guess yeah. I really want Tommy to be better. She is actually not. Tommy is very strong, but just that how niche she is. Because of that, I don't really find that most cases to actually bring her along. I really like her. I really like her art, to be honest. But yeah, I am planning to buy a skin. But yeah, I really like her art. Just that she's very niche. Her use cases are just very, very niche. This really isn't a much reason to actually use her over like other casters in most case scenarios. I guess so, but yeah. Eh? Let me think. Oh yeah, I guess I'll talk about the skill 2 name. This is very funny to me. It's called Gabriel Protection Plan. Actually didn't because I did not complete the event, so I really haven't really read too much about like the event itself, but at least the one thing I know is that Tomimi is obsessed with Gabriel. Yeah, Gabriel Protection Plan. That's how stupid, you know. The skill name itself is like that. Okay, I guess I should do my wrap up now, I guess. Yeah, so let's see. Eunectes is a very strong operator. A very strong operator. Just that you won't really be using her as like a defender. You'll be using her more as like a duelist guard or dreadnought as your clock now. Yeah, a very strong defender. Just that you need to build your squad around her. Since she needs the proper setup, to be in order for you to fully utilize her skill sets. Skill 1 is a very good boss killing skill, especially with the consistent stun throughout the entire duration of the skill. And then skill 3 is just basically just slapping stats onto her. Just that the stats are actually useful. That's why it's increasing the block count, and then increasing the having HP regen and stuff like that. Just basically making her like the giant mech that she is. Again, actually, if you guys didn't know, yeah, you see. Yeah, check it out. Hello, please load. Let's see. Eh, uh, skill 3. Skill 3. She actually just directly just becomes a mech. So yeah. So yeah. Actually a very strong skill. Just that, like I said. What should I talking about? I lost my train of thought. I'm trying to summarize shit now. I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, just basically make her a beat stick, I guess. A stat check. Just slapping stats on top, making an extreme beat stick. Skill trees. Very strong operator. It's just that you need the proper setup. And like proper, you need to build a squad around her to to fully utilize her skill sets. So yeah, by no means bad. Just clunky to play with. See, there's just all operators are. They're all very clunky to play with. I just realized that. Oh wow. Okay. Flint, a very strong brawler. A very strong brawler operator, I guess. Brawler knights, so called. Yeah, a very strong operator. Both skills actually help facilitate her talent boost attack. And then skill one. So skill one is more for consistent damage, and then skill two is more for like a burst damage. Both of them are actually very strong, and both do provide a slow, I guess, if you want to talk about it, but generally using her for the slow, you're using her for the damage that she can do. And then then Meteorite. Skill 1 is for consistent damage, and actually the skill that most people will use, even myself included. And skill 2 does have a niche of defense debuff, just that it's very clunky to play with because of the how long the downtime is compared to skill 1. So so the damage is somewhat lacking with skill 2 in most cases, but it's by no means also a bad skill as well. And then Aciddrop skill 1, together with a talent can burst down bosses. Actually can actually do damage to bosses. And then skill 2 is more for the general skill to use, but really isn't much to talk about it since it doesn't really provide much of a niche that other operators cannot provide already. But it's by no means a bad operator, just overshadowed by other stronger operators. So yeah, especially with her relatively high cost. And then Tomimi, a single target caster, just that feels very weird to play with when the skills are active because of how limited the range becomes. But otherwise, if you want, you can still just use her as a bulkier steward. And so yeah, I think that's really more or less about it, I guess. It's kind of like the entire all the operators. They're all very strong, just that they all have they're all only just like serve their own niches. So unless this really a very specific reason comes out, there really isn't a reason to use like any of the operators compared to their counterparts other than maybe Meteorite skill 1. But skill 2 there is a reason to use Meteorite skill 2 over Ifrit skill 2, short skill 3, stuff like that. So yeah, they're all very strong operators in their respective fields. Like I said, just that the field itself that they excel in is very niche. So yeah, I think that's more or less about it. This has been Dogcesy, and I'll go record the other one right now. Bye bye.